As you can see, there's a lot of IBM innovation, but also industry-led innovation really driving this space. That's what makes it so interesting. So I've been asked to talk about software-defined storage. So the first question is, what is software-defined storage? I looked it up on Wikipedia. It's a marketing theme for promoting storage technologies. I did a little informal survey, talked to a couple IT professionals. They call it snake oil. So, but what I'm here to tell you is that I'm going to try to demystify this for you, because I think it's really important industry-led innovation that's can critically help you drive value to business and take out costs. It's really where the market's going, and it's industry-led. All the major players are going this direction, so it's important to understand. So I would say, where do you use this? It's really across all your initiatives this year and next and into the future. If you're trying to build big data analytics, if you're trying to do some consolidation, build out clouds, an integrated infrastructure, it all plays. This is where software-defined environments play, especially software-defined storage. Now, why? So the benefits of software-defined storage are actually real in the real today. So the needs, what you're trying to do is you're trying to reduce costs, right? CapEx and OpEx, your people time, but also buy less of this stuff. You want to be adaptive. You want to accelerate your time to value. You want to build out things like cloud and enterprise virtualization, and you want to get management across the entire environment. Well, that's exactly what software-defined storage does. It gives you really almost unlimited flexibility and scalability through, really you abstract yourself from the underlying hardware. And again, hardware of any nature, not just IBM. The chart to the right is actually internal data that we use inside our global services group. This is our strategic outsourcing group that manages some of the largest IT environments in the world, and they're really good at understanding their costs. So when they went through from a traditional environment, best of breed, to software-defined storage 1.0, which I will explain in a second, they saw a 50% reduction in management costs. Imagine a service organization that gives better discounts to clients if they go with a particular technology, because it makes their job easier, more scalable. And that's where they are today, and that's the transition they've been doing the last couple of years. So software-defined storage is here today. But they see where it's going, very short time, and they've done some limited deployments, but also you'll see them doing a lot of analysis on it, where they think it's going to be additional 78% to go to the next version of software-defined storage. By the way, without doing a massive swap out, but driving more value out of software-defined storage. So, like any technology, you have to understand where you are in the life cycle. You have to understand when you can jump in and how do you stay future consistent. How do you make sure you don't do some great things, but you end up the only guy out there. And so I'll describe software-defined storage is 1.0, is about virtualizing and optimizing your environment. Software-defined storage 2.0 is the exact same platforms, but imagine making it more open, better, richer APIs, allow people to run applications on top of the platform. Also extensible, adding capabilities. And last but not least, industry-led, allowing the innovation of the industry to provide value to your clients. And then where we're going is really, once you virtualize the environments, once you're truly industry-led, and if you have a platform that's extensible, now think about where you're going. It's going to stay open, but you're going to be analytic and application-driven. And I'll give you some examples of that. So first of all, software-defined 1.0. People are pointing the fences. Software-defined, we're going to do X, Y, Z. Well, I'm here to say it's here today, and we've been doing it for a better part of a decade. You just heard Rico go through it. But as I travel, that is not something that everyone's deploying. We have over 10,000 clients deployed over the last 10 years. But it's something you can deploy now. And across this thin software layer, across all your storage, regardless of origin or generation, and you get these services catalog that you could apply to it. Just like server virtualization, virtualizing and optimizing is software-defined 1.0. In fact, Storewise SVC was software-defined before it was in vogue to call it software-defined. Now, where are you going with that? So where we are today is really software-defined storage 2.0. And imagine making the platform more extensible, but also allowing industry-led innovation into the platform to the benefit of our clients and partners. So imagine the control layer that's open to all different interfaces, both from the, what I'll say, the new, OpenStack, et cetera, industry-led innovation, but also classic VMware standard systems, but have a common set of interfaces. And on the bottom, virtualizing, extracting all storage devices, again, regardless of manufacturer or generations you have. By having that control layer, you're able to add services and add industry extensions. And that really is what we're talking today is our Storewise platform. The Storewise platform is really Storewise SVC. We use the exact same technology in our Storewise V7000 and family of products, V3700, and you'll see us continue to roll out. It's really a software layer. It's a software platform that's very extensible and open. Let me give you a couple examples. You heard about OpenStack. Now, you may or may not have an OpenStack initiative in your environment, but OpenStack is industry-led, completely open source stack virtualization, right? From the ground up, hypervisor, all the way through management. For Web 2.0 companies, this is how they're deploying a lot of their environments. Like we heard eBay, in fact, they're speaking later on this session, in this event, they did exactly this. But what have we done? Available today, or it's been available for months, you can do automatic storage provisioning via your OpenStack dashboard. And users can do it directly, and they can apply the policies that you, as the administrator, set up once. Set up what what you call the different layers of storage, either platinum, gold, silver, bronze, or whatever you choose to call those different pools of storage. And then we allow you to see all the capabilities of the platform and leverage which ones you want and set a profile. So that when the end users self-provision their environment, including storage, all those capabilities just come through, but it's a click of a mouse and it's fully integrated to the OpenStack dashboard. That's what we mean by being open. That's also what we mean by being industry-led. This is a huge initiative by the industry. IBM's a platinum sponsor of OpenStack. In fact, we're the second largest contributor to the code stack. But the key thing is this is powerful for those that want to do it, and we're going to make sure this platform's open, and we're going to leverage those initiatives. We also talked about industry-led extensions. How do you let the industry, our partners and the clients, add value, leverage the platform called Storewise, again, which is a family of products. We have this concept, this industry-led extension. Now that can either by a robust API, or you can actually put applications directly into the platform itself. We haven't named it yet, but imagine a virtual app port. You can literally run in the environment and imagine what access to analytics and movement that has. So the clients and our partners can add value to their own environment, add value to the platform in a safe manner. Now, we already have ecosystem players doing exactly this. In fact, they're being demonstrated tomorrow at the Storewise session to go through these different things. But imagine, I'll give you an example of what this is. Why is this good for you as client and partners? What if on top of environment, you wanted to have an enterprise Dropbox functionality with mobile sync? Your end user clients come into your environment, hey, I brought my own device today, BYOD. And by the way, why doesn't it work like it does at home? I mean, my files just automatically sync. Why, are you guys like backwards? Why can't you do that? Which is hard. But literally, one of our partners just wrote a small application and actually put it directly into this industry extension layer, and you get exactly that. Same thing for a cloud gateway. Very flexible gateway, just to simply use Amazon cloud capabilities. Just for bursting, but also for HSM and store it in the cloud when you need to have a virtual, infinite space inside your Storewise platform. Also things like advanced storage analytics. The Storewise platform has great analytics and GUIs in it, but everyone's always looking for doing something a little bit different. And it's nice to have the APIs, but if you can actually sit in the platform, you get a different layer of capabilities to do analytics and show what's really going on second by second. And that company called SVA did exactly that, and it's available on this platform. In fact, we're demonstrating it with all these different things tomorrow. You want to do an object store. They simply, hey, my application want to look like the objects, put get delete. This is how we want it to look. but I want to use a storewise platform for all its file and block capabilities and replication. Well, they simply did that. In fact, that was a Taiwanese government, the III put that together, and again, we're going to demonstrate that live today. But these are examples of what we're calling open and industry-led. These are industry-led enhancements, and we're making it very easy to either plug in the API, which is standard, but also run the application possibly directly inside the platform. And again, this is here today. Now, where are we going? So if you look at software-defined storage, imagine you virtualize it, you pooled it, you have all these capabilities, you've driven value and driven out costs. But where can you go? Imagine a day where it's actually analytic and, more importantly, application-driven. This particular case is actually just doing at a speed of swipe advanced analytics. It's actually an account that we actually have running in production in New York City, a major credit card processing company, that literally, imagine security. The minute you do a speed of a swipe, typically goes to a database, typically a batch process. They're looking up, is that a bad card from last night's process? But imagine doing a speed of a swipe, be able to figure out advanced analytics. Now the application knows when it does analytics, you do a swipe, it knows the next 6 IOs it's going to do. If you do a transaction and it's Mike in Tokyo, it's going to know where's the last couple transactions, what's the buyer behavior, where is he located now, and you know the next IO. So imagine if the application could speak through an open API to the storage and have it warm up, literally do the IOs and do the cache coherency and drive some caching of first flash. What you're able to get is like a 10-fold increase in performance. And again, we've done this for particular clients, but you'll see this going into the storewise platform as an open API. Now, this means you're customizing your application. So I'm not saying it's across the nature, but this is how you're customizing your application, but to tremendous value in the future as you go forward. The other area we're seeing is in the form of analytic-driven data management. It's a mouthful. But in today's world, you end up with, in general, more than 18 copies of your data. It's all been policy-driven. In fact, you might not know why you're making these copies. Recovery is actually complicated and error-prone, even though you have all these copies around. Also, the copies are adding no value to your business. In fact, the minute they've been snapped off or copied or replicated, they're actually aging and not very useful to you as far as recovery. In fact, instead of being an asset, they're most likely a liability to you in the business. And the other thing is when you're thinking about data, and as data is just growing, we are still moving data to the applications. We're transferring data over the network to get it from one location to the other, even inside the data center. Well, imagine a world driven by analytics on top of software-defined storage, where you have one protected, and the concept of protected is both local, remote, also leveraging cloud entities. But it's analytic enhanced policies. So little things like RPO, RTO, are your policies actually allowing you to have better recovery time and recovery point objectives? Should you be putting that data in the cloud? It has some social security numbers or date of births. You shouldn't be doing that. That's what I mean by analytic enhanced policies. With all this data, you have to have some sort of intelligence, and the analytics are going to give you that. Next one is recovery simple. It's almost like the time machine of the enterprise. You can literally mount whatever time you want and get a consistent copy and come back and running. It becomes easy. You get value from your data because it's being driven by analytics. In fact, we believe there's new sets of analytic capabilities. If you do virtualize your environment and make it available at different time points, you can actually do new analytics. And a new era of analytics like infrastructure analytics, operational analytics, business analytics, and driving new capabilities. In fact, our software guys are more excited about this than any of the hardware guys. And the key thing is you can move the data to the applications. Just to give you an example of a particular application, what if you're trying to get a 360 view of the client? You want to look at everything you know about a particular client and do some real processing on it real time. Right now, you're moving the data through the network. It's a batch process. By definition, that is not real time. What if a particular server can mount a whole bunch of read or maybe read-write clones of all your data from the database, the CRM, maybe from Hadoop, for a couple other sources, and look at it almost close to real time? Now that allows you to get a 360 view. That's available if you have this environment. And that's where the analytics are really going to transform it. You're moving the application to the data, not the data to the application. So analytic-driven data management is really where this is going, and having application-driven capability. So to summarize, it is a buzzword, but there's a lot of innovation, both from IBM and the industry. And it's not a point to the fence and, as some other people, oh, it's mystical, we're going to get you to this mystical thing. It's here today, and you can benefit from today and be future consistent and add these capabilities as it makes sense to your own business. So before we transition, software-defined environments are, yes, a buzzword, but there's so much industry innovation going into it, and it has so much potential to help you drive value and take out costs. You don't want to ignore it. You need to spend some time understanding it. Hopefully I demystified a little bit the storage side of it, but it is something you need to keep in your overall strategy. So maybe to make a change of topic, let's talk about flash. And we're talking about how flash is really changing the economics of the data center. It's a pretty big word. And we talk about how flash is, so much faster than core disk drives, and it is. And what's really happened over time is we have designed systems around storage because storage is just so slow. And this is just over the last 10 years, the difference. CPU memory network speeds have gone up 10x, 9x, 10x, and storage has just increased a little bit. And that's been going on for decades. It's the last rotational spinning, mechanical device. It is really slow in comparison to everything else in the environment. We actually designed around it. So by going to an all-flash environment, you're able to dramatically improve performance. I think everyone gets that. I don't know of anyone that doesn't get that. But it's a little bit misunderstood because typically it's viewed as, well, geez, that sounds like that's expensive. And the storage is more expensive. If you simply say, okay, let me figure out my system environment. Oh, can you just give me a quote that looks like it's storage? It's going to be more expensive. But look at it system-wide, which we'll go through. And by going all flash, you really enable new opportunities. Just like 60 years ago, when IBM took the world from paper, punch cards, to magnetic, everyone didn't think it was going to change the environment. It changed dramatically what you were able to do with systems and software, things that you weren't able to consider. It's the same type of sea change. Once you're not waiting for I/O and you're running at the speed of silicon, you can do different things. In fact, the big area I'm going to introduce later, but it's our software teams that are the most excited about the technology because of what they can do with it. So we talk about reducing cost, and we've explained this a little bit, but what I've seen is people either get it real quick or not. When we say reducing costs, it's not that you can literally say, give me this capacity, configuration for storage, hard disk drives, and maybe do some flash caching, and then give me the same thing. Boy, what's this reduced cost? It is a little more expensive. In fact, you'll see that in the overall thing. Storage is actually more expensive, probably 50% more expensive. But if you take a step back and actually look at your environment, from a system perspective, you drive huge economies out. When the CPUs are not waiting for IOs, you free up those processors, they can do more work. Buy less cores, less servers. That translates into less virtualization software and database and analytics software, smaller environments, power, cooling, management. But that's what we mean by the tipping point. So we see this tipping point, and we're trying to help our clients do this because we see the benefits of this for our clients if they transition to this and drive the economics. We announced an IBM Flash Ahead initiative. We announced over $1 billion of R&D across IBM. We announced a new line of all-flash storage called IBM Flash Systems. By the way, there's a whole session tomorrow afternoon, in the afternoon, 2 hours, just about all our different flash enhancements. And also, we opened these 12 IBM Flash Centers of Competencies. These are built for you and users and partners to leverage, do proof of concepts, et cetera. But take us up on that. And again, these services allow you to specifically go in there and do proof of concepts. There's hardware, there's benchmark capabilities, there's people that understand how to do this. But the more importantly thing is we can come to your location, help you services, and help you understand how this changes your economics. Now to transition, we talk a lot about we're enabling new opportunities. And I highlighted that although the hardware guys are excited about Flash, the software guys at IBM are just kind of tickled pink what they see they can do, because they can finally get away from this slow storage that they had to work around.